Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to call this regular meeting of the City of Pasco Code Enforcement Board to order. These proceedings are being presented live on PSC-TV cable channel 191 and will be rebroadcast throughout the following month. The Code Enforcement Board conducts public meetings to hear issues regarding alleged violations of the city code, in particular property maintenance standards. For those of you present tonight, if you're given the opportunity to address the board, we ask that you speak clearly into the microphone at the podium. State your name and address for the record. And I would like to request, if you did bring a cell phone tonight, that you would turn that off. Thank you. We will now have roll call.
Mr. Dwayne Spear.
Present.
Mr. Daniel Gottschalk.
Present.
Ms. Mary Gutierrez.
Present.
We have 3 members present. We have a quorum.
Thank you. The next item of business on tonight's agenda is the approval of the minutes from the August 1st, 2019 meeting. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the minutes of August 1st, 2019 meeting of the Code Enforcement Board be approved as mailed.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the minutes as mailed. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We will now hear the cases scheduled for tonight, September 5th, 2019 at 7 o'clock for alleged violations of the Pasco Municipal Code. The City of Pasco is a petitioner, property owners and their authorized representatives here to address the city's charges of the respondents. The purpose of these hearings is to determine whether the city, by a preponderance of the evidence, has proven that the violation charged has occurred upon certain properties owned or controlled by the respondents, and if so, whether the required corrective action is reasonable and whether a monetary penalty is appropriate. The procedures for the hearing are as follows. First, the chair will open the hearing, which is being recorded. To ensure the accuracy of the testimony, each person who will be testifying tonight shall be sworn to truthfulness. Second, the city has a burden of proof and shall present its case, including any witnesses and exhibits that are relevant to the case. The respondent may cross-examine the city and the city's witnesses. Third, the respondent shall present their case, including any witnesses and exhibits that are relevant to the case. The city may cross-examine the respondent's witnesses. Fourth, the city will have the opportunity for rebuttal of the respondent's evidence raised in their case, and the respondents may answer the city's rebuttal. Fifth, after all the evidence is in the record, the hearing will be closed. Remember, this is the only opportunity to present evidence in your case. And finally, the board members will then discuss the charges, facts, and evidence presented and render a decision. A copy of the decision will be mailed to all parties within 10 working days of the hearing.
Mr. Chair, we're ready to hear tonight's cases. Before we begin, will you please explain the procedure for providing testimony and swearing all city staff, respondents, any other witnesses who have appeared here to offer testimony?
Absolutely. Testimony can only be received at the microphone. When you address the board, please state your name and address at the beginning of your testimony. If you have any written materials you wish to be considered, please present them to be marked as an exhibit. It will become part of the hearing record. Are there any questions about the procedures at all, folks? We're good? Okay. Are there any objections to any member of this board hearing your matter due to the belief that any one of us may have a conflict of interest or the appearance of one? And if so, please indicate that objection now or it will be considered waived. All right. We will now swear in the witnesses who will testify in these proceedings. Would all city staff, respondents, and witnesses, anybody that's going to come up and talk to us, please stand up and raise your right hand. If you're going to stand up, would you mind standing up, folks? If you're going to come up and talk to us at all, please stand up and raise your right hand. Do you promise to tell the truth in these proceedings? If so, please respond, I do. Thank you. You may be seated. The city will now present their first case.
Mr. Chair, our first case is CEB 2018-2060. Ms. Johnson, will you please present your case?
The property known as 405 West Bonneville was inspected on November 14th, 2018. Violations of the Pasco Municipal Code were observed and were determined to be second repeat violations. A notice of civil violation was issued on February 16th, 2017 for failure to obtain a building permit to install sheetrock, a floor drain, and toilet in the basement of this multifamily building. A $400 second repeat penalty was assessed and paid. Permits were issued and a final passing inspection was obtained. On June 8th of 2017, a stop work notice was posted at the property for failure to obtain a building permit to replace siding, re-roof, and remodel the rear garage. A building permit was issued and a final passing inspection was also obtained. On December 19th of 2018, a second repeat notice of civil violation was issued for failing to obtain a building permit prior to installation of framing in the rear patio cover, 2 side patio covers, and electrical work. The property owner was legally notified on January 15th, 2019 via process server. A permit was issued on February 14th, 2019, and a final passing inspection obtained on May 9th of 2019. Based on the final inspection of the property, which was completed on September 4th of 2019, it is my opinion that the property is in compliance at this time. I have supplied the board with pictures of the original and current property conditions with the dates clearly marked. And the city of Pasco recommends that Jesus Correa shall pay $45 to reimburse the city for the cost of personal service of the notice and pay $400 for a second repeat penalty.
All right, thank you. Who'd like to be heard in this case? Come on up, folks. Please state your name and address for the record.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Jesús Correa. El domicilio es el 405 West Bonneville.
Good afternoon, my name is Jesus Correa, my address is 45 West Bonneville.
All right, what would you like to tell us about this, sir?
¿Qué nos quiere decir?
Pues mi razón por mi presencia aquí es para hacerles saber a ustedes también de que sí, yo estoy de acuerdo con todo lo que yo he hecho.
The reason why I am here today, and I also wanted to let you know, and the reason, I do agree on everything that I've done.
Lo que yo veo pues que yo todos les he pagado permisos, les he pagado doble.
What I have seen is that I have paid for permits and I've paid those doubled.
Y les pagué el second repeat notice, les pagué también una vez.
And I also paid them the second repeat notice one time
Por lo mal que yo hice, una vez.
because of the bad things I did one time.
Una vez que Rosana, la oficial de aquí de la ciudad de Pasco,
This one time when Rosanna, the officer here from Pasco,
ella inspectó la primera vez, de acuerdo, muy bien.
she inspected it the first time and I agreed to that. It was all good.
Cuando ella estuvo ahí, ella miró que el Porsche de atrás necesitaba algo de reparaciones.
When she was there, she saw that the porch and the back needed some repairs.
Y ella me dijo que estaba bien que lo hiciera, porque son puras cosas menores.
She told me that it was okay for me to do it as it was all minor things.
Lo que yo hice, le puse soportes, le arreglé un poquito el roof de arriba, del techo.
So what I did is I added some support and I also added a little bit of agregué con techo
Sí, el roof un poquito ahí en the end,
Added
en
to
la,
the roof.
en la edge.
over on the side, on the edge.
Y al último ella se confundió, no sé qué pasó, porque después me pidió un permiso, dice que por los soportes que yo puse.
And then the last time, I don't know if she became confused because she asked me for a permit for those supports that I had installed.
And then, ella me requirió un permiso para poner esos soportes al porche.
And then she required me to get a permit to put those supports there in the porch.
Before he continues, can I ask a question?
Eso muy bien.
Very well.
So at the very beginning, you mentioned that Roxana talked about the stairs and that she had noticed the staircase that needed. and told you it was
About the
okay.
stairs, no, de los stairs no hubo nada. O sea, sí me dijo también de unas cosas y también hice unos pocos arreglos también a los stairs. De esos no, ella no menciona nada hasta estos momentos, pero también le hice unos arreglitos.
I did make some improvements on the stairs, but she doesn't mention anything about the stairs at this time.
Okay,
there was
because
nothing else there.
I thought I heard you mention the stairs, that she had said the stairs earlier.
No, ha de haber confusión, porque ahorita no hemos mencionado nada de stairs todavía.
No, there must have been a confusion because we have not mentioned anything about stairs yet.
Okay.
Y entonces, vamos a continuar con los soportes del back porch que estamos mirando aquí presente.
So then we keep going with those supports over in the back porch, the ones you see here on the front.
Estos que miran ahí a un lado, esos sí, yo los agregué un poquito más de la cuenta,
The ones you do see on the side, I did add those more than I was supposed to.
pero los que yo estoy hablando y los que ella fue los que primero miró ella también, fueron los soportes del porch, los que ustedes miran en un lado.
But the ones I'm talking about and the ones she noticed before are those supports that go to the porch, the ones you see on the side.
Y entonces ya cuando ella dijo que un permiso, le dije, muy bien, lo sacamos.
So when she mentioned about getting a permit, I said, very well, so I'll get it.
Porque de primero me dijo, ¿lo sacas permiso o los quitas?
So, because at first she said, you either get a permit or you have to remove them.
Entonces dije, pues sacamos un permiso y los agregamos y yo le hice mi plan, un planecito más o menos y lo puse en la ciudad y pasó muy bien,
So I
pero
said,
mi intención,
so if I need a permit, we'll get it out. So I made my little plan and it did pass through the city. So my intention was
ponerle como si fuera un framing, que se miraba pues algo bonito, pero hasta ahí nada más.
well, to make it look like a frame, something pretty, but that's it.
Yo pensé pintarlo así como están los otros posts que ustedes miran ahí,
I thought about painting it just the way those poles are, the way you see there.
para que se mirara bien, algo bonito, porque lo que yo he hecho en esta propiedad era una propiedad muy destruida. En toda mi carrera que yo soy el dueño.
So that it would look good, so it would look pretty, because this was a completely destroyed piece of property, you know, in my whole career. I'm the owner.
En esta propiedad, desde que yo la agarré, todo lo que yo he hecho en mi vida es meterle trabajo.
So what I've done in my whole life is to add work to this property.
Ustedes mencionen lo que puede hacer, de adentro para afuera, como ustedes vean. De todo le he puesto a esta propiedad.
Anything you can think
Está
of,
bellísimo.
inside and the outside, I have put on this property. It was
Se miraba como la propiedad que está a un lado, que ya tiene como 4 años y es un basurero ahí.
It looked like the property next door that's been there for like 4 years and it's like a dump.
Me gustaría que la pusieran ahí también para que la miraran,
And I would like
para que vean qué feo se mira para la ciudad. Eso no queremos nosotros en esta ciudad.
for them to put it on there so you can see it, because we don't want to see something that ugly here in this city.
Y lo que yo a veces veo que a veces se refieren más a las personas que están tratando de hacer algo bien para la ciudad que los que dejan todo tirado ahí.
What I notice is that they seem to refer more to the people who are actually trying to do something for the city than to the people who actually leave everything out there.
Yo trato de limpiar todos los días. Si ustedes pueden ir a ver enfrente, atrás, donde ustedes quieran, la yarda y todo lo que hago yo, todo lo que yo agarro de rents ahí, es para dárselos a ustedes.
And you can see that I clean everything from the front, from the back, from the yard, so everything I collect from rent is to give it to you guys.
Yo pago permisos,
I pay for permits,
pago taxas,
I pay taxes,
pago pago al Estado, a la ciudad y al federal.
I pay the state, the city, and the federal.
Okay. Okay. I would like to, Ms. Rosanna, would you like to respond to some of that?
I would.
Okay, go ahead.
So, Mr. Correa, how long have you owned this property?
Desde el 2000.
Since 2000.
Okay, and how many properties in the city of Pasco do you own?
Well, I used to own a lot of, no, yo tenía muchas propiedades, pero ahorita ya tengo menos.
I had
Gracias a Dios.
lots of properties, but I now have less, thank God.
Y les voy a decir una cosa también.
And I'll tell you one thing also.
Yo nomás tengo problemas en la ciudad de Pasco. Yo tengo propiedades en Kennewick, en Yakima, en otros lugares, y yo nunca he tenido ningún problema.
And I only have issues with the city of Pasco. I have properties in Kennewick and Yakima, and I don't have any other issues elsewhere.
Y ahorita yo nomás vengo, yo ahorita estoy viviendo en México.
I'm living in Mexico currently.
Yo nada más vengo aquí a ver que todo esté bien, a pagar los biles y que no haya problemas.
So I just come back to make sure everything's paid, as the bills are paid, and that there are no issues.
Yo, en cuanto arregle este problemita, y me voy.
As soon as I solve this issue, I'll go back.
So with all of these structures, he has pulled over at least 21 permits with the city of Pasco, showing that he's well aware of the process and the requirements of permits. As you can tell, there's been quite a bit of work. It's not small little repairs, and at no point in time would I tell him a permit is not required. He had to have peeling paint and some damages to that patio cover, so peeling paint, you can replace that, paint over it without a permit, but any other repairs are most likely going to require that. And if you look at the photos, you can tell quite a difference, and we have no issue with them repairing structures and making them look better. Of course, we prefer that. But when it comes to this type of work, a permit is always required, and he definitely has the knowledge to know when a permit is required in this instance. And you can tell that on the sides of the property, this is a moved floor, so there's added work done there. On the sides of the property, these patio covers he had told me that were replaced actually didn't exist. If you look on the left side in 2017, there was never a patio cover, and then it was added. And that's just the back garage. So this is not the first time that we've had a stop work notice placed on one of his structures, not the only address that we've had a stop work notice placed at. And it is a continuing issue, which is why it has come down to a second repeat notice. I do have 2 cases against this property for stop work orders for no permits. So we will have a case after this, which is very similar.
Okay. Questions? You good? Anything else, sir?
Pues yo nada más quiero agregar que yo pienso que no es, no es fair que tengan que pagar más dinero de lo que ya estoy pagando, porque no es que salga dinero como para estar aventando para todos lados, ¿no?
I just want to add that I don't think I should be paying what they're asking for. It's not like money's coming in left and right to be throwing all over.
Yo todo el tiempo trato de todos modos de escucharlos, de hablar con ellos en la ciudad.
I always
Con
try
ellos
to-
paso seguido ahí y tratar de arreglar las cosas bien. ¿Sí? O sea, son cosas que no sé si tiempo atrás ustedes permitían que una persona podía hacer un storage de 12 por 8 o 8 por 12 y no había ningún problema. Yo, en mi conciencia,
So I always try to stop. I always try to make things right. I always come along. I don't know if before you guys would allow permits for to
They
build
used to.
storages. Or you used to?
they used to, yeah, here in the city.
You guys used to allow permits to build storages 12 by 8 or 12 by 12.
Y no había ningún problema, o sea que uno podía hacer cosas así más o menos de esa medida y no había ningún problema. Entonces en mi mente, y en eso yo recalqué que todavía se podía hacer eso, cosas pequeñas como las que hice yo.
And there were no issues, so I figured because of that in my mind, then I could still add little things the way I was doing without having any issues.
Pero bueno, ahora me doy cuenta que sí hay problemas y pues ahí dejamos las cosas.
But now I realize that there are some issues. We'll just leave things the way they are.
Just paint it over and make it look nice y se miran chidas.
Your English is pretty good. Thank you.
Sí, pero para mí es mejor hablar en español. Me siento más confiado aquí a gusto porque yo nunca he estado en un hearing así como el que estoy ahorita con ustedes, gente ya de alto nivel.
But it's better for me to speak in Spanish because I have never been in a hearing before people who are at a higher level.
And then, yo pienso que para mí estuvo bien, mejor así.
So I think it was better for me like this.
Okay.
Pero como les digo, ahí yo nomás lo que está hecho, ya saqué mis permisos. Disculpen si los ofendí en alguna manera a todos. Y yo me voy a disfrutar mi tiempo, porque no quiero que ustedes tampoco pasen un tiempo pues, difícil aquí y yo también allá. Let's enjoy life. Todos juntos. Unos aquí y otros entendemos.
All together, so I am sorry for what I've done. What's already done, it's done, and I'm sorry. Y que más dijo, perdón.
Pues mejor que voy a hablar inglés, ¿no?
I'm sorry, the interpreter's having a hard time keeping it.
So as long as you understand that anytime you're going to do something to the structure, you've got to come get a permit.
No, yeah, I understand that now.
Okay.
But from now on, I'm not going to buy property here in Pasco no more. It's going to be down in Kennewick or Richland or somewhere else.
I know they also have a code enforcement board, so.
They do. I own property too in Kennewick and Yakima and other places. And like I said before, never had any problems before. So, but it's okay. I like Pasco. People like Pasco for some reason, the water or something, keep people coming back from wherever they go. And then, I guess people like here Pasco better, but I would like to. I'm planning to invest more money here in the city, But now that I've already met all you guys, and then it was nice to meet you, all you guys. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much, appreciate it. There being no further evidence to be presented, I determine the record complete. The hearing is now closed. No additional evidence will be permitted. The board will now discuss the charges, facts, and evidence presented, and then we will render our decision. First off, do we agree by preponderance the evidence the city has proven that a violation of the Pasco Municipal Code has occurred? And may I have a motion one way or the other, please?
I move that the board, having heard the case and facts presented, and by preponderance of the evidence presented, find the respondent in violation of the Pasco Municipal Code.
Is there a second?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. What are we going to do?
Well,
What are you thinking, Mary?
Well, I'm thinking it's a repeat from 2017 and then 2000.
It's actually the second repeat.
Huh.
Because of the timing, you can't
What
be
timing
calling it
that?
a third repeat.
No, but just looking at all of that, so
Yeah.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
if you look at all of it, so definitely a repeat for me. So what do you guys want to do?
I'm okay with that.
Dwight?
I'm inclined to only fine you $200 plus the service fee.
200? How do you feel about that, Mary?
And how about if we put the other 200 in a vans?
We can do that.
Want to do it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Who wants
Okay,
to do
go
that
for it.
one?
Okay. What are we doing? I move that a penalty of, Jesus Correa pay a $45 penalty to reimburse the city for the cost of personal service of the notice. In addition, pay a $200 second repeat penalty immediately and hold an additional $200 penalty in abeyance for 1 year to be dismissed if no further issues of this kind are noted.
Is there a second?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. Sir, we are giving you a little break. Okay, you'll get official notice in the mail within 10 working days.
That's fine, I can pay my fine tomorrow and then, because I'm leaving.
Okay, very good. Thank you, sir.
What's the total of the fine, so altogether?
$200.
$245.
And 45 for being served.
I'll pay it tomorrow.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Can we hear our next case, please?
Sir, you got one more case.
Oh, I thought it was altogether.
OMG.
Board, our next case is CEB 2019-0686. Ms. Johnson, will you please present your case?
This case is for the same property, for similar issues, but it is for different dates. So that's why they are separate. The property is known as 405 West Bonneville Street, was inspected on June 18th, 2019. Violations of the Pasco Municipal Code were observed and were determined to be second repeat violations. On June 8th, 2017, a stop work notice was posted at the property for failure to obtain a building permit to replace siding, re-roof and remodel the rear garage. A building permit was issued and a final passing inspection obtained. On December 19th, 2018, a second repeat notice of civil violation was issued for failing to obtain a building permit prior to installation of framing in the rear patio cover, 2 side patio covers, and electrical work. The permit was issued on February 14th, 2019, and a final passing inspection obtained on May 9th, 2019, and that was the case you just heard. This case is for a second repeat notice of civil violation issued on June 19th of 2019 for failing to obtain a building permit prior to enclosing the rear patio cover, which was denied on a prior permit application, and installing a section of fence and gates to the south side yards. Property owner was legally notified on June 25th, 2019 via certified mail of the conditions which I believe to be second repeat violations of the Pasco Municipal Code. Based on the final inspection of the property, which was completed on September 4th, 2019, it is my opinion the property is in compliance at this time. I have supplied the board with pictures of the original and the current property conditions with the date clearly marked on the pictures. City of Pasco recommends that Jesus Correa shall pay $400 for a second repeat penalty.
Okay, I guess we're going to talk about this one. If you'd get up and state your name and address for the record again, please, sir.
Bueno, volvemos a lo mismo.
So we're going back to the same thing.
Okay. So tell us.
Sí, mi
tell
nombre es
us
Jesús
about this
Correa.
Jesus Correa
Mi domicilio, el 405, el West Bonneville.
is my name and my address, 405 West Bonneville.
Pues ahorita, como ven ustedes, esos boards, yo nomás los puse ahora que estaba pues muy caliente.
As you can see, I only put those boards on now that it's been really hot.
No es que mi intención que voy a taparlo como ella dice, no.
It wasn't my intention to completely cover it how she says it. No, it was not.
Los renteros, los tenants estaban como complaining que estaba muy caliente ahí en ese patecito ahí, y yo nomás puse unos boards que estaban ahí, que no, ya tenía de tiempo atrás.
The tenants were complaining that it was too hot in that area, so I just placed those in, but they've been there for a while
Para agarrar un poco de sombra.
to get a little bit of shade.
Pero yo no pienso que sea un motivo de como para que digan pues que voy a tapar o que voy a hacer. No.
But I don't think it's a reason
Jesus,
Dime.
how long have you been in business?
All my life.
Well, you should know better.
No, pero in different businesses.
I know, but you should know better.
About what?
Especially when, about permits.
No, pues nunca me he dedicado yo como te digo, nunca me he dedicado yo al building.
Never dedicated myself to building.
Jesus, we just went over one and now we're doing the same thing.
No, pues por eso me refiero yo ahorita de que volvemos a lo mismo, porque esas son tablas que nomás están laying down donde están los stats, así nada más, pero hasta ahí nada más, y ella de ahí se refiere de que hay un trabajo, pero no hay ningún trabajo ahí, son unos boards que nada más están laying down.
Because I see it and I walk in and I'm thinking you're going to finish up that wall and make a room.
No, sí, o sea, no nomás tú puedes pensar eso, o sea, toda la gente que pasa, pero lo que pasa por mi mente es otra cosa.
Right, and you wouldn't be the only one. Anyone passing by would think the same thing, but it's...
Well, here's some advice for you. Tell your renters that that's a patio and they need to enjoy the heat. And they're very privileged to have heat. And for you to put those boards, definitely.
Pero tú nunca has estado así como donde pega solo el mero fuerte.
I have.
¿Tú quieres estar así?
Yes.
O sea, tú quieres estar como en between, donde hay sol y sombra.
More like you want to be where it's in between the sun and the shade.
I like the sun.
Sí, no, a todos nos gusta, pero que no nos pegue de lleno porque... No, pero en realidad, de verdad, ya llegando con más normalidad, con más seriedad.
I got a question for staff, please. How come these weren't both on the same fact sheet? It seems like the dates are
They're
the
different
same. And
dates. No, they're different
Different
dates. So the first case that we heard was for a violation December 19th of 2018. There was unpermitted work found in November of 2018, so that case was already started and going.
Okay.
And he came in and applied for a permit, and then we had a stop work notice posted on June 19th of 2019, which is this current case. So it had to be separate cases because it's a separate date
because
and
of what it was.
violation. And can I ask a question while I have the microphone on? Okay. Mr.
said
Correa,
yes.
which unit did you say that you stay in at this building?
It's a year apart.
Ahorita me quedo en la 1.
Can you point on the screen where that unit is in this picture?
Pues es la del lado izquierdo del building. See, if you're from front facing the building, it's the one on the right. If you're facing the building from the front street, if it's through the alley, it'll be the left one.
So in this photo, it's on the left. You're the door right there.
Yeah, like I said, if you're from the back, if you're facing the building through the back, it's the one on the left. That's where I stay, when I'm here. Like I said, I'm not here too long.
So is that directly behind where the plywood?
It's
Was
no,
leaning up
I went
against
all the way down to all the way around, not only to my side.
Okay, and can I ask you why there are headers installed in the patio cover if you were not intending to?
For
install it?
support, because the inspector went by and signed, and he said it was fine. So I never expect, I went back and said, okay, no, this is not fine. When the inspector already went and said, okay, he already signed it. So how do you want me to, expect that, when he stopped by and said, okay, this is fine, and then, to me it was fine because the inspector already went, and then I don't know if Rosiana's an inspector or what's the difference between an inspector and then her. Because he went and then signed, saying the framing was fine and the permit was issued for whatever I did, and I thought it was just fine. My mistake, it was just those boards, but like I said, not only that, it's the people that is right next to me. They don't like me because they don't want me to keep this place nice because they dedicate themselves of doing bad stuff, like doing drugs and selling drugs and stuff, and I don't want them in there no more. So I even tried to evict them out, but even the judge told me that I had to hire a lawyer, and then for me right now, it's not enough money for me to hire a lawyer, and eventually that's what I'm going to be doing in the future. Because these people to my right, they smoke, they sell marijuana, they do have dogs, cats, and they create other issues.
Hold it, we're not going to get into that.
Okay, no, that's what I'm saying. If we're going to go that far, because she's asking me, where am I staying? And
Well, I
it's something
understand
different
that
too.
we're not going to start making allegations about the neighbors.
Okay, no, that's fine, and then let's not ask, where am I staying, and then why am I staying, and
Well,
then,
that has nothing to
it's my
do with-
property. If I want to sleep in the yard, I can be sleeping in the yard myself, I don't see no
Well,
problem with that.
I would like you to please be a little more respectful to us. We're trying to be respectful to you, sir.
No, I am respecting you guys. I know the value of you guys being here working for the city.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us?
That I'm okay, paying the first fine, but that's the second fine. I don't think it's fair because of like I said, there's not much. It's just some boards laying down, for the summer, and I even put screws. You know why? Because it was going to be easy for me to unscrew and back up, when I need to.
Can we go back to that permit? So this permit is what the city gave you,
The first one, yeah.
that one right there. So in that little box, what does it say?
2x6. Was that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that little red, it's,
Yeah, 2x6 studs only. Or the one on the left?
yeah, the big one,
No, can't see it from here.
big to the left, the big one. I mean, that one right
Oh,
there.
okay,
What
okay.
does that say?
That big one on the left is I'm enlarging what's in the little red letters.
Oh, okay.
Just, those are my notes, but the red letters is what is actually on his approved permit plans.
So basically, that's on that permit. So when you look at what you put on there, to me, it looks like you're starting to close it up.
Yeah, like I said
Looking at
before.
that,
That's how it looked like, and I should have thought about that, before going any farther.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where you're making the mistake.
Yeah,
Not reading
yeah,
that
but like I
fine
said,
print.
I think one fine it'll be fine, because the second one, like she was saying, it's all related to the same thing. It was just like her going back and then seeing those boards or those panels, thinking that I was gonna close it and whatever, but
Well, in addition to the boards, there was also the gates, as you can see in this photo and the next one. We have fence and gate at the front of the property that was added that had not been there in the prior photos. So again, we had the prior case. He was notified to get a permit on that one, and still we had more work being done without permits. It was not just the boards on the rear patio.
do you need permits for a fence of that size?
Yes.
It's only 4 feet fence in the gate.
Permit's still required for the fence, regardless of the length.
'Cause
Same
since,
same with enclosing your patio cover. Same with installing headers on the exterior of the walls. Interior, same thing. Everything we've seen requires a building permit, and you've been educated on that multiple occasions.
And then since, like they showed it before, there was already a fence in the back, so, there was already a fence in there, so that's what I thought, maybe it's just like put them in the front for not having people, coming over and crossing the yard or dogs or whatever,
Okay. Folks have anything else? Good. Anything else, sir?
No, that's it, sir.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. There be no further evidence to be presented. I determine the record complete. The hearing is now closed and no additional evidence will be permitted. The board will now discuss the charges, facts, and evidence presented, then we will render our decision. First, do we agree by preponderance of the evidence the city has proven that a violation of the Pasco Municipal Code has occurred? May I have a motion, please?
I move that the board, having heard the case and facts presented, and by preponderance of the evidence presented, find the respondent in violation of the Pasco Municipal Code.
Is there a second?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion carries. What are we doing?
Fresh out of sympathy.
Okay, go ahead.
Go for it.
I move that Jesus Correa pay a $400 penalty for a second repeat.
Is there a second?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion carries. Sir, we're going to go with the city's recommendation on this one. You'll get official notice in the mail within 10 business days. Thank you for coming tonight. Can we hear the next case, please?
Mr. Chair, our next case is CEB 2019-0335. Ms. Johnson, will you please present your case?
I remember this one.
The property known as 1800, 1825, and 1905 West Lewis Street was inspected on March 20th of 2019. Violations of the Pasco Municipal Code were observed and were determined to be repeat violations. A notice of civil violation was issued on March 10th of 2017, case number CEB 2017-0220, due to numerous housing code violations. A repeat notice of civil violation was issued on April 10th of 2019. The property owners were legally notified on April 10th, 2019 by email of the conditions which I believe to be repeat violations of the Pasco Municipal Code. On October 14th of 2016, a letter was issued to the property owner stating that residential rental dwelling units were not permitted at this location due to local zoning codes. The owners have acknowledged this by requesting a comprehensive plan change, code amendment to allow SRO housing, and posting of notices to tenants notifying that long-term rentals are not permitted. Inspections of this property have been conducted on a monthly basis since December of 2017 as part of a voluntary correction agreement action due to the determination of this property as a chronic nuisance. During the majority of the inspections, occupied rooms, most importantly those occupied as rental dwellings, were not made available for inspection. The owners and manager have been given a monthly inspection report shortly after each inspection outlining the violations existing within each room and highlighting any requiring immediate repairs. At no time since inspections began has the property been brought into compliance with housing codes. The case was heard by the Code Enforcement Board at the May 2nd, 2019 hearing. The owner, Mohinder Sohal, appeared in response to the notice and was granted an extension of 90 days with a $500 immediate repeat penalty and $500 daily penalty for 10 days if required corrections were not made by the compliance date. On July 30th, 2019, I received a phone call and an email requesting to move the inspection to a new date and to grant an extension of an additional 5 weeks. The request was denied since the determination had already been made by the Code Enforcement Board. A final compliance inspection was conducted on August 6th of 2019. During our inspection, 22 units were not available to inspect as they were occupied. Each monthly inspection report since 2017 sent to the manager and owner has stated that all long-term rental units require inspection. However, access has not been granted. At the conclusion of the inspection, I requested a list of all employees living in the West End building, units with remaining tenants and their respective move-out notices, a copy of the pest control receipt, and a written plan of action in regards to repairs of the structure. Per the manager's emailed guest list sent to me on August 14th, 2019, 6 of the units were still occupied by tenants and another 6 units were occupied by employees. A pest control receipt was received as well as move-out notices for the tenants, but no plan of action. Based on the final inspection of the property, which was completed on August 6, 2019, it is my opinion that the property is not in compliance at this time. I have supplied the board with pictures of property conditions throughout the inspection timeline and as of yesterday, September 4th, 2019, with the date clearly marked on the pictures. The City of Pasco recommends that Sohal Development LLC, Loyalty Inn, shall pay the full assessed penalty of $500 per day for 10 days, totaling $5,000, which is now due and owing.
Okay, thank you. Who'd like to be heard in this case? Welcome, sir. Would you state your name and address for the record, please?
Yeah, my name is Mohinder Sohal. Address of the property is 1800 West Louis Street. My address is 244 33 Southeast 192 2nd Street, Maple Valley, Washington.
Okay. What would you like to tell us, sir?
Okay, my question is, when you see these photos, like the kitchenette's last photos, and these are all empty when they take the photos. The people were staying there like long term, they've been like 3 years, 4 years. And the other photo was 46 rooms, that was already on studs. Which one you showed early? Yeah, well, what happened is I took all the furniture out from the empty building so I can put it in the dumpster, which I did, this one. And if you go back, like this one, that building is 46 rooms, is all empty, last 4 or 5 years ago, last 4 years, and that building is on the studs. Nobody using, all the doors are closed, the windows closed, and put some boarded up. And the city wanted me to empty that building, and which I done. I had about, I emptied that. There was like 6-7 trucks so loud. And if you go on the next one, then I can give you the answer on the other one. I don't know, I don't know how long ago was this photo.
These are all from the August 6th
Huh?
inspection that we did.
The last time?
Mhm.
I don't know.
Just about a month ago.
I didn't see that. Okay, all these, I can answer you on that. There was like, I don't know, there's about 10 people, about 10 room rented right now. And there's about 5-6 employees' rooms. And we evicted about, I don't know, what, 25 people? 25 rooms? There's 28 rooms empty right now in that building, 28 to 30. And we evicted those people. When we evicting them, sometime barely, lot of mass, this and that. What we tried to pull, my guys tried to pull out all the refrigerators. They pulled out about 5-6 foot, all the stoves pulled out. So that way we can paint and put a kills paint and clean it up behind the refrigerators, behind the stoves. That's my answer. Because people it take us a long time to evict it. Some of them we couldn't evict it for 3 months. And I already hired attorney, Mr. Gonton.
Sir, when you were here a few months ago, on these exact same issues,
Yes,
we gave you a 90-day extension to correct all these because you said you could do that.
yes, I agree, sir.
Well, you didn't.
Yeah, 1 second, sir.
We sure did.
Question for the city.
Well, my question is, those 28 rooms are empty, and then
Doesn't matter.
I'm not going to rent them. But they're clean. There's no mess. What happened? 1 second, sir.
Why wasn't the city allowed access to the rooms that are not empty?
Huh?
Why wasn't the city allowed access to the rooms that were not empty?
I don't know. Last time I showed the city every room. The only maybe they didn't see maybe 7, 8, or 10. But before that, the inspection there was a maintenance guy. He was showing them. And this time I showed every room which one was empty to the city. And your question was asking me why did I not? Can I show you the picture? Because I had a very bad
Yeah.
accident on the 8th of July.
Yeah.
And my wife still can't walk properly.
Are they relevant?
And I just want to show the pictures, if you don't mind. I just printed out this evening.
Okay, and there's,
About the same.
Why are these relevant?
Huh?
what
Why,
is
how are
this?
these relevant?
I don't
Because I
understand.
had accident, I couldn't, and I was in like 3 weeks, I was in a bed. And this was in newspaper. And this was my claim.
Okay, this will be
And
Exhibit
I went to
A.
the Lourdes Hospital. And, I don't know.
Okay,
We don't need to see that.
yeah. Okay. All right. So he was down part of the time. Let's pass it over to the city if you want it. Okay.
So question to the city. Those photos were taken August 6th.
That was the compliance deadline based on the 90-day extension that
We had
you
given it.
granted in May.
Okay, so in 90 days, we had given you 90 days, and this is what we still have.
Yeah, it was not just one room. And these rooms, I pulled out a refrigerator and a stove from these rooms to clean them properly and fix them right. And when the city had a last inspection, all the refrigerators and all the stoves were moved out.
So we've been going to this property monthly since December of 2017. Every month we give a list on the rooms that we're allowed to enter, which in some months was as few as 3 out of how many units are in this building, Mr. Sohal?
44.
44. Majority of them were occupied on a long-term basis. We were told that they were not. We had revoked a rental license application
Right.
in the past. We've told them every single month that you cannot have long-term dwelling units. So even though these units are vacant, these are the conditions that those long-term renters were living in that we were not allowed to look at. And even still, there were 22 that we were not granted access to because they were occupied according to my walkthrough list. And there were 6 that were still occupied as long-term rentals and 6 as employee units as of August 14th. And I haven't had any updates since then. And we've never gotten to those units. As far as we're concerned, none of these have met our minimum habitability standards for rental units.
You have anything else, sir?
Yeah, but these are not, these rooms are not rented, you know, people are out of them. And we was trying to fix them, but if I'm not going to rent those 28 rooms, what's the point of me to spend so much money on them? And now before this was happening, I usually rent about 40 rooms, but now there's 29 rooms. Like at least it's empty. There's nobody there. There's only about 10, 12 people in that building, whole building. And those people are checking out every 28 days and they recheck back after 2, 3 days. And I don't know whether they're staying with their relations or with their friends.
Are they moving out entirely at 28 days?
Yes.
All of their belongings and everything are gone from the rooms?
Some of the belonging, they leave it for a storage.
Okay. So they're not up for rent for other people that are looking for a motel room in the meantime? In those 3 days that they're checked out of your motel,
No, they didn't. No,
they're not available for rent to other people that need a
they're
motel
not
room?
renting my motel.
Sir,
Okay.
that story doesn't hold water.
I know.
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
Anything else, sir?
Huh?
Anything else you'd like to share with us tonight?
Yeah, the only thing is, like these are all empty rooms and I'm not renting them. That's my question.
Okay. All right.
And that wooden one, they all fixed. You know, that wooden, if you go back, that one.
Yeah, these are some going back to last
They all,
year.
they all fixed with, there isn't any left. They all fixed with the plastic. If you,
Okay.
I can tell you this.
All right.
And another thing I want to, okay, yeah, some of them, which ones are not corrected, there's maybe 1 or 2 fans. I already ordered them last time. I don't think they find any fan last time, which was not working. That's number 1 question. And about the roach infestation, I already got working contract.
When was the picture taken with all the roaches in the one picture? When was that? Was that a month ago?
It was August 6th.
This would be Exhibit 2. This is from January. Okay.
And about the evictions, I still got 1 eviction. They take like 3 months. This is the last one, and my attorney, I think already filed, I think yesterday. Because what we gotta do, we gotta give an eviction
Oh,
first of the
wanting to
month,
evict some tenants.
3, 4
looks like.
days. If it's late, then it doesn't count.
Okay. This will be
And,
Exhibit C.
And I already put, because I can't manage it and this and that, I already put it on a sale, for sale.
I think we read it that it was,
No, I put it on sale on the.
that you were going to put it on sale,
August
for sale.
15th.
Oh, so yeah, it's for sale right now.
the property.
Yeah, I just listed this.
Okay, well, this would be Exhibit D. Okay. Let's see, 1, 2.
Board,
Wow.
Board, the property's been for sale on and off for a few years.
100 grand.
Yeah, last time it was, the big company was buying and they need SRO, single room occupancy. And it take them, they never got a single room occupancy approved by the city that time. That's why the contract was pulled off. And I only got about 15% to 20% occupancy. And I'm behind, like, I'm 4 months behind with the bank payment, and I'm hardly paying my bills.
I understand. All right, sir. Well, I appreciate you coming and telling us your side of the story.
And I asked the city if I can close one floor or 2 floors. They say I can't close these floors. And because there's a fire alarms in there and that. So,
Mhm.
and sometimes homeless people break in. That's also,
Mhm.
they break in.
I understand.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you
Yes,
very
sir.
much. Appreciate it. You may have a seat, sir. There being no further evidence to be presented, I determine the record complete. The hearing is now closed and no additional evidence will be permitted. The board will now discuss the charges, facts, and evidence presented, then we will render our decision. First off, do we agree by preponderance of the evidence the city has proven that a violation of the Pasco Municipal Code has occurred? May I have a motion, please?
I move that the board, having heard the case and facts presented, and by preponderance of the evidence presented, find the respondent in violation of the Pasco Municipal Code.
Is there a second?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. Sir, we're going to go with the city's recommendation. You'll get an official notice in the mail within 10 business days. Thank you for coming tonight. Any more cases tonight?
Mr.
We
Chair,
can't
you
skip
have
that
to,
over.
you have to still vote.
We gotta do that motion.
You have to go through the
Oh,
motion.
I'm sorry. I thought you,
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Gosh, let's go home.
I am tired.
Okay, I move that Sohal Development LLC Loyalty Inn shall pay the full assessed penalty of $500 per day for 10 days, totaling $5,000, which is now due and owing.
Okay, is there a second on that one?
I second.
Thank you, Mary. All those in favor say aye. Aye. The motion carries. We're going with the city's recommendation, sir. Thank you for coming. You'll get official notice in the mail within 10 business days. I think we can give them back. If you can hold on for just a bit, we'll give them to you at the end of the meeting. Okay?
I can make copies for you and drop it off at the office tomorrow if you don't mind.
Okay. Okay. Do we have any more cases on the agenda?
We have one more case, sir.
Okay.
So our last case, CEB 2019-0792. Mr. Leos, will you please present your case?
The property known as 6015 Camden Drive was inspected on July 19, 2019. Violations of the Pasco Municipal Code were observed and were determined to be a second repeat violation. The repeat notice of violation was issued on May 26, 2017 to overgrown vegetation exceeding a foot in height. Failure to maintain the landscaping in a healthy growing condition, and the property was verified as in compliance on October 25th, 2017. A $200 repeat penalty was assessed but was held in abeyance for 1 year. A violation notice was issued on November 14th, 2018 for case number CEB 2018-0932 due to vegetation encroaching onto the neighboring properties. The case was closed as in compliance as of December 7th, 2018. A second repeat notice of violation was issued on July 30th, 2019. The property owner was legally notified on August 22nd, 2019 via certified mail of the conditions which I believe to be a second repeat violation of the Pasco Municipal Code. I spoke with your homeowner, Mr. Melton, on July 30th, 2019 to discuss the notice. He stated that he cut the weeds and will trim the bushes around the fence. He was notified on his options to appear at the CB hearing to request an extension and dispute the penalty, and that all vegetation encroaching onto neighboring properties needed to be cut. Mr. Melton called me on August 30th and stated that the weeds and tree limbs encroaching neighboring properties were cut and he would continue trimming when the weather permitted. I contacted Mr. Melton the day after my inspection on September 4th, 2019 to let him know the property was not in compliance and scheduled his appearance at the hearing. Based on the final inspection of the property, which was completed on September 30, 2019, it is my opinion that the property is not in compliance at this time. I have supplied the board with pictures of the original and current property conditions, which the date clearly marked on the pictures. Violations that still have not been corrected. Violation description: overgrown vegetation that constitutes a fire hazard in the side yard, dry weeds and other vegetation, hedges, shrubs in the front yard are over 3 foot in height. The City of Pasco recommends that Mr. Melton shall pay a $400 repeat for the second repeat penalty and be given 10 days to correct the remaining violations, or pay a penalty of $200 per day for 10 days.
All right, thank you. Who'd like to be heard in this case?
I would, Your Honor.
All right, come on up, sir. I'm okay with that. Would you state your name and address for the record, please, sir?
My name is Ian Melton. My address is 6015 Camden Drive, Pasco, Washington, 99301.
All right, what do you want to tell us, sir?
Quite a bit, actually.
Okay.
First off, this is the first I've gotten of this fact sheet. I would like to state for the record that there are several things on here I wish to dispute, including Mr. Leos's testimony. He contacted me on September 3rd and told me I was in compliance. He has also been out to visit me, and can we back the pictures up to what he circled? During his last visit and when he talked with me, he said this was in compliance. Also, I would like a specific word from him as to what vegetation he has told me is overgrown. I have pictures that I can provide of the trees that he told me were overgrown, that he wanted cut down, that were next to a fence. Again, actually, I'll come up and bring them.
Thank you.
Okay.
This is the tree that he told me.
Okay, this will be Exhibit A. Go ahead, you need to talk at the microphone, please.
I actually believe it's in some of the past photos. Again, I'm not sure which because I had no access to these. As you can see with this photo right here, these are the trees that he told me needed to be brought down to below 3.5 feet. He made no mention of any of the vegetation in the front yard. You'll also notice that there are no visible weeds. He claims that there is overgrown weeds exceeding 12 feet. There are none. So, I would like to explain that I have a great frustration with dealing with the interactions of Pasco code enforcement. I have some notes here specifically, and I would like to read from this, if that's all right.
Is it pertaining particularly to the case we're talking about tonight, sir?
It is. I moved to my house.
I'm going to give you a chance. Go ahead.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I moved to my house at 6015 Camden Drive about 10 years ago. The previous owner landscaped poorly and overplanned, leaving me with a jumble of shrubs and trees. Since moving in, I have developed severe lymphedema, and this disability makes it difficult for me to be on my feet. To walk, especially when it's hot, prolonged outdoor exposure has resulted in hospitalization as a result of my legs. It's the only reason I'm wearing shorts tonight. I do not like going out in public like this. I received 2 notifications from the city stating that my property had violated city ordinance codes, but that all issues had been addressed as of 9/3/2019, according to Mr. Leos, despite what he notes in the sheet. He has stated that I should be charged $400. In fact, Mr. Leos contacted me at 4:45 on the 3rd. He informed me that I was in compliance, and he said, do I still plan to attend the meeting? I said, am I still being assessed any fines? Is everything taken care of? He said, no, you'll still be assessed a $400 fine if you do not appear. I said, then yes, I plan to appear. He said, are you sure? 9 out of 10 times, they're still found guilty and have to pay the full fines. Are you sure you want to appear? I said, yes, Mr. Leos, I will be appearing. So, now, each time I've been contacted with a code officer, I have responded immediately to learn what needs to be done, and I've tried to deal with these issues despite my disabilities. I was sent a letter on July 29th of that this was a second code violation. Do you have a copy of this, or should I bring this up? It's up to you.
I think we have something from July 30th that's talking about the second notice.
Yes.
Yeah, we got
There was a letter sent on July 29th that refers to second notice referring to the incident on November 14th. That notice was sent by Code Enforcement Officer Nicholas Potvin for a complaint made by my next door neighbors at 6011 Camden Drive. That code officer found that there was no actual code violation. It was a civil issue that details for the fact that my neighbors continue to have issues with me. They feel that, as you'll notice in any of the photos, their car is always parked in front of my property. They feel that I've been calling the police about this. So that car right there, it is always parked. There's always one or two cars parked there.
Okay, I'm going to have to, I got, that is, we're,
Okay, I know
we
that's something to
get,
do
we
with
get
civil
the
violation,
idea, sir.
but they're the ones that are complaining.
Or that's public parking. I just wanted
Well, I know
to
it is,
note that.
and I don't complain about it, but they
Okay.
feel that I do, and that the police
All right,
have
we're
called
gonna-
for that.
I'll
So-
use the new button if I have to.
All right, my apologies. The issue from the first notification is not an issue that was addressed or found an issue with before. And in fact, the hedges and shrubs Mr. Leos said that he found in violation are not shrubs, but it's a young tree growing near the fence. Actually, it's two young trees growing near the fence. However, as you can see from the pictures that I provided for you, picture 1 is of that tree on the packet I gave you. And then also I provided pictures 2 and 3 are from a house that is across the street with shrubs that are well above 8 feet high. There's an additional picture for 4 and 5, which are from 6011 District Drive, that are for vegetation that's growing over the fence. I'm not sure why I continue to be singled out as terms of my shrubs or whatever's growing large, but I do feel rather persecuted for this.
Well, that's not the case.
And I
at all.
understand it's a separate issue.
Well, no, what I want to tell you is that the code enforcement is complaint driven.
Okay.
So if someone has been making complaints, now let's
And
look
I-
at this here just for a second.
Sure.
I do know that there's been a number of complaints going back. When did you first move into the property, sir?
I first moved into the property in 2005.
Okay, 2005, and then looks like things started. We started getting complaints in 2009 that were pretty much every year, and then some.
Yes, and it continues to be from the same neighbors.
Different. So some of them are a little bit different.
Oh, they
but
are.
There's a lot going on there. So it isn't just you're not being singled out by us or the city or anybody.
Okay, but and the thing is, like I said, with the last violation I had, or supposed violation, it was because of a complaint. The officer came out and said, there's no issue going on here. This is just your neighbors are complaining. You should perhaps go to inform them again, they need to go to civil court if they have an issue.
And then what happens with the other folks, and I understand, because people I guess don't understand, hey, how can the house down the street have worse conditions than I have? But the fact is, because they're based on complaints, and if you didn't like the property across from you and they had possible violations, you could get a hold of the board and they'd go out and look at that property as well.
You see, my approach has been like with the neighbors that I have next door to me, if there's any issues, we talk to each other.
I understand.
The neighbors next to us continue to not do this. They just continue to call in because they feel that's their recourse. Now, I've been more than willing every time there's been any kind of violation noted to work out there as best I can. But like I said, I'm disabled. I'm not even employed right now because I can't work and I can't stay standing for usually longer than about 30 minutes. And especially when working, I have little or pretty much no income. And to the point where we try to address these issues as best we can. My 60-year-old parents come into town whenever they can to help us deal with this. In fact, if you go back further, the initial complaint on 6017 was due to very large shrubs that had been initially planted again before I moved in. Now, you can't see them anymore, but you can see that more or less bare spot right next to in the front yard. That is from us completely removing those shrubs. I mean, the issue was they were growing over the sidewalk. You could continue to clip them back, but they would just keep growing. So we removed them out. Now, I was told nothing about any of these shrubs being any kind of violation. I was simply told by Mr. Leos that it was the 2 trees over on the side, that was the only issue, and that there were some dry vegetation over in that same side yard. When he last came out and inspected and talked with me personally, he said that everything was looking good. He gave me some recommendations and said he would come back out, and that ended up being September 3rd. He actually told me he'd be out the Saturday beforehand, but I'm not sure what
All right,
happened.
give me just a second. Mr. Leos, how would you like to respond to that? What, did you have a conversation with him on September 3rd
Yes,
at
I did.
4:45? What's your recollection of what was said?
I had gone out and met with Mr. Melton after he had called and had explained that any overgrown vegetation encroaching into neighboring properties needed to be trimmed. And that's where we had left it. And I supplied pictures to the board where you can see not just the shrubs he's talking about, but the overgrown trees and the vegetation that is all on the left side. So I had explained to Mr. Melton at that time, anything encroaching into neighboring properties or a fire hazard had to be addressed.
So I would ask them, so now where the circle is, this right here, is this what you're referring to? Or this the left side or the right side? Which side are you referring to?
This is the right side.
Okay, so
Of
the
the
right side,
shrub.
he told me is compliance. On the left side, I spoke with him also about that, and he mentioned the tree that was growing over the fence. I said the neighbors like that there. They have made no complaints about it, and I have told them if at any point they have an issue with it, they are more than willing to ask, and we will get it cut down, either together or separately. And they have issued no complaints. In fact, they like it because it provides shade into their yard. I told him this, specifically, Mr. Leos. And he said, as long as they don't complain, that's fine.
Do you have pictures of the dry weeds in the backyard? Or were you able to get a shot of that? As one of the things that weren't in compliance?
Where I had circled it,
Okay.
there is a bunch of dry shrubs that are back in the corner that are piled up back there that is a fire hazard. And the overgrown vegetation that you still see where he's cleared a little path, but it continues to grow into the fence and still continuing encroaching into neighboring properties.
Okay.
Well,
Guys, anything, Dwayne? Mary? Anything else you want to share with us, sir?
I'd like to go back to that slide where the circle, again, as you can see from the circled area, everything he just described, you can't actually see that. There's, one more slide, please. There's actually nothing touching the fence. And again, when I asked him about this, he said it was fine. He told me as long as nothing was touching the fence and that there were no issues. Now, there is a tree, of course, in the backyard there that you can see that is growing over. I have said if there's an issue with that, I will gladly work to cut it down, something that he noted. Again, I am more than willing to work at, but that's also an issue. It's not something you can just do over a weekend. Felling a tree that large is not easy. And again, I have worked with my neighbors. There actually was another tree that was back there that the neighbors had an issue with. It wasn't growing over into their yard, but it did produce cottonwood. So they simply asked, can we cut it down? In fact, the fence behind my house is still down because they're working on cutting it down and cutting up the wood. Again, I get along great with all of my neighbors except for 6011
Right.
Camden Drive.
And so you say you can't see any dead vegetation there?
I personally don't see any
Because
vegetation in the background.
what is the brown back towards the back there that looks like dead vegetation?
That's just
What
the
is that?
ground.
It's what?
That's just the ground.
No, I'm not talking about the ground. I see at least 2 spots back there that look like it's dead.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
you mean the brown right here? Oh, may I approach the front? I'm trying to see what you're seeing here, sir.
Sure. I see,
The brown spots right here.
yeah, what's that?
That is vegetation, but it's not anywhere near the fence, and it's part of the green part. It is a dying off part. I was not notified any time that I need to cut off all.
Okay, go back to the microphone. Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
I was not informed that anything that is dead on living trees need to be cut off.
Okay, you said you didn't see anything that looked
Okay.
dead.
Of course.
Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Okay, anything else?
Again, I try to, in any instance, work to comply with the officers. I follow up immediately. The first letter that Mr. Leo sent out did not even arrive until after he had already sent out a second violation. So, again, I personally, it is not a repeat offense because the repeat offense he refers to in that letter was deemed by the correction officer who came out. The one that happened in 2018 was deemed by the officer who came out and inspected it to not be a violation. It was just simply considered to be a civil issue.
I have a question for the staff. I'm not crystal clear on what needs to be corrected at this point.
The city would like to see by the code, any shrubs that are sitting in the front property to be trimmed. The code reads that it has to be trimmed at 3'5" and away from the property line 5 feet. Anything that's a fire hazard that's encroaching to any property needs to be trimmed and not have a fire hazard. Anything that's encroaching into the neighbor property, we'd like to see trimmed and be able to be maintained.
So even though Mr. Melton is indicating that, at least on the one side, his neighbor likes that growing over the fence, you're still saying because of the city code, it needs to be trimmed back?
Yes, sir. And we don't have any documentation stating that from his neighbor.
I understand that. I'm just saying that because of the city code, whether the neighbor likes it or not, still needs to be trimmed.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You understand?
I do, but I wasn't aware of that, Your Honor, and I would gladly I would want to ask then, can I bring in testimony then, or provide it to the city from the neighbor that has no problem with it?
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Okay,
It's
all
against
right,
code.
then that's fine. But I was not informed by Mr. Leos that was
It doesn't
some considered
matter.
issue. Well,
We're getting that cleared up now, okay?
okay, but that
Okay.
seems like a great fault of this board then, if you simply, I talked to Mr. Leos about this, and he did not say that had to be done before he came back out again. He also did not indicate that these shrubs in the front need to be trimmed down, or that they had to be 5 feet away.
But I'm getting it very clear for you what
Okay.
the city's expectations are to get you up to code.
Okay, and that's fine, as long as I know that, but Mr. Leos did not provide me with that information.
You have
And
it
again,
now.
am I supposed to read the code?
You
Is
have
that
it
the
now, right?
Yeah, I have it now. I don't have a
Okay.
problem with that.
We're good.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Anything else, sir?
Not this time, because I feel I presented my case.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. We do appreciate you coming. You were able to express your opinion very well. There being no further evidence to be presented, I determine the record complete. The hearing is now closed and no additional evidence will be permitted. The board will now discuss the charges, facts, and evidence presented, and we will render our decision. First off, do we agree by preponderance of the evidence city has proven that a violation of the Pasco Municipal Code has occurred? And may I have a motion, please?
I move that the board, having heard the case and facts presented, and by preponderance of the evidence presented, find the respondent in violation of the Pasco Municipal Code.
Is there a second?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Did you say aye?
Oh,
Mary?
aye, sorry.
The motion carries.
I was
Okay.
busy in his.
What are thoughts?
Well, I was reading, I'm going back and reading on the repeat and looking at it. Back in 2018, the case was closed.
That's what I saw as well. Well, let's go here.
Then-
They're looking, yeah, they're going back to 17 to 18 was a repeat. But if,
But it was closed, so there was no repeat right there. That's what I'm seeing. So then the second, would this be actually a second, or would it be going back to the first? Because it's 2019, that's July, and this was July, so it was a few days. This was in May, so definitely would be over 2 years. Because I'm looking at that, November, that it was closed as in compliance.
Dwayne,
So that one didn't seem like it was a repeat. That's why I wasn't paying attention, because I was.
Yeah, I was checking the dates too. What do you think, Dwayne?
Because back in 2017, we did a 200 repeat by penalty.
Yeah.
So we did that. But then I don't, and this is throwing me off right in November.
We don't know. We weren't given that information.
Exactly.
Okay.
So then that's why I'm thinking this is not a repeat violation. And maybe we go with the city, but put it in abeyance.
I'd be okay with that.
'Cause
And
I'm
also,
not sure, I've got a question on this right here.
Yeah.
What do you think, Dwayne?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Well, the November 14th, 2018,
Yeah.
and then that it was in compliance. So that's why, that's throwing me off, because I don't see that as being a repeat.
Well, and Mr. Millen gave us a testimony that whoever it was came out and said that's not a violation after the complaint. I could go with the bans.
Dwayne?
I'd like to go with abeyance and give him 90 days to correct it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Go for it.
I like it.
I move that Ian C. Melton pay a $400 penalty for a second repeat to be held in abeyance for 1 year and dismissed if no similar violations occur during that time period, and be given 90 days to correct any remaining violations or pay a penalty of $200 per day for up to 10 days.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. You heard what he said. You'll get an official notice in the mail within 10 business days.
May I make a request?
No.
Oh,
Nope.
so
You're
I
done.
still have to go through Mr. Leos?
Yep.
Like, okay.
You can get a hold of
Talk to the city.
even after the meeting here, you could probably
No,
talk to
I
him if
mean,
you'd like.
when I'm inspected, can I be inspected by another code officer?
Talk to the city about
yeah.
that. We don't do that.
All right.
We have no control over that.
Thanks for coming. All right. Any other cases on the agenda?
No, sir.
All right. All right. Do we have any amendments or dismissals to the resolution? And may I have a motion?
We have no
Good.
amendments. No, sir.
Okay. Who would like to make the motion?
I move that the board approve resolution number 9-2019, finding that code violations have been corrected and may be dismissed, deferring action on certain cases until proper notification is made, accepting voluntary correction agreements and assessing penalties, and imposing timeframes on certain cases.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. We accept the resolution as amended. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. Do we have a report from staff tonight?
No, sir.
Any other business?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. There being no further business before the Pasco Code Enforcement Board, this meeting is declared adjourned at 8:18.